Very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Wednesday morning. Now, I did say I wasn't going to do any transfer shows, but I'm afraid I've got pulled right into it. And I guess, given with the news, the latest news that's kind of coming out, I thought I'd do one on a player that looks quite likely to be the first player to come through the transfer window when it opens on the 14th of June. Now, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that like button. There's a subscribe button down there somewhere. I say the same thing every day when I do a show. It doesn't cost you anything to become a subscriber. If you don't have an account on YouTube, excuse me, all you have to do is just set one up with your email address and then become a subscriber of this channel. Very easy. And it will certainly help the channel if you do that. So we've got quite a number of transfer rumours. They're doing the rounds. And on Monday, on the West Ham Weekly show, I mentioned Lopetegui, however you want to pronounce him, really would ideally want a 25-man squad. Now, to do that, we need at least 7 players in this transfer window, if not more. Now, with a budget of around apparently anything now between 85 to 125 million pounds, Tim Steidten could be using his pearl diving qualities quite useful to find some hidden gems. Value for money is going to be absolutely vital. We're going to be looking at, we already have started looking at the South American market as well as the Championship market. We may even be looking to get players in who have reached the end of their contracts, free signings, and maybe potentially we might get 1 or 2 loan deals in as well. Now, I've had a look at Tim Steiden's record in the past, and he's not he's okay with bringing loan players in, but I think primarily his focus will be on players around about the sort of the 15 to 20 million pound price mark for each player. Now, many fans are going to dislike that because obviously we've gotten accustomed to bringing players in for 35 million, 40 million pounds, etc. But this isn't necessarily Tim Steiden's way. When he was at Leverkusen, for example, the most expensive players that he bought were 2 central defenders. Edmund Tapsoba was bought from Vitor Guimarães of Portuguese club in 2019. And Leverkusen at that time paid 20 million euros for him. And then another central defender, a couple of years later, Odilon Kusunu, came in for 23 million euros from Belgian club Bruges in 2021. So you can see Steiden doesn't necessarily need to go out and spend 30, 40, 50 million pounds on a player. It's kind of not his way. Plus, of course, there's speculation that if any of our academy players come good, they might bolster the squad. Now, academy players, players under 21 years of age don't have to be named in the senior squad, even though they're eligible to play for the senior team. So if we do not reach the 25-man squad that Lopetegui wants with regards to how many players he may have left in the current squad and how many players we go out and buy, he's going to have to, he probably will have a few academy players on his mind to be able to bring into the squad if need be. However, despite all this, we're still going to have to keep one eye on the number of homegrown players that we have within the squad as well. Now, as it stands, with the players that we know are leaving, etc., as it stands, we've got 3 players who are definite, Creswell, Bowen, and James Ward-Prowse. And if Antonio doesn't leave, and if Downs doesn't leave for Southampton, we could have 5 homegrown players in the squad overall. My understanding is that all the other players that we're going to have who are homegrown are going, like Danny Ings, etc. Now, with only 5 homegrown players at the moment, that means the squad can only be 22 in total. But if we get another homegrown player, that'll be 23, 7 homegrown players, 24, and of course the magical 8 homegrown players, which will give Lopetegui a 25-man squad. Now, given that we've heard our priorities are two centre backs and a striker, this is likely to mean that the likes of a Gerd will be leaving. We know Ogbonna's left or will not be offered a new deal. Like I've just mentioned, Danny Ings might be leaving following Divin Mabama, who apparently is likely to be going to Sunderland. So time will tell over the summer transfer window how many homegrown players we're going to have left and how many players Lopetegui is going to need to bring into this into the squad to get his 25-man quota. So, with the transfer noise, the transfer rumours going on, the strongest link to this date is that of Brazilian centre back Fabricio Bruno of Flamengo. Now, when I mentioned him the other day, I think last week, I kind of asked myself, is this really a realistic transfer target, or is it just more speculation? But the rumors are getting stronger. Apparently, he's going to come in for a medical, etc. So, what do we know about him? What do we know about the player? Well, his playing style is characterized by his defensive prowess. Well, thank goodness for that. He's a central defender, and his ability to distribute the ball effectively, something that is key within a Lopetegui team. He likes technically gifted players around not just the midfield, but also up front and in defense as well. So let's look at more detail about the player himself. His defensive strengths, you could see. Before I do that, sorry. Tim Steidten, we know, flew to Brazil in April to probably looking to scout players. I mean, pretty obvious. Otherwise, why would he go out there? We've already got a scouting network set up in Brazil, which was created by Rob Newman back in 2022. And Bruno is rumoured to be the first signing of the 2024 transfer window. So, what are his skills? Well, defensively, aerial dominance. Bruno stands at 192 centimeters, 6'3.5" tall, apparently, and he uses his height advantage to win aerial duels. Thank goodness for that. His average of 1.61 aerials duels won in a game showcases his effectiveness in that respect. His clearances, he makes an impressive over 4 clearances per game, demonstrating his ability to sweep away danger from the defensive third. And his blocks and interceptions, he's got 1.14 blocks and 0.67 interceptions per game. He's there to disrupt the opponent's attacking effectively. And again, thank goodness, because that's what a defender should be there to do. His passing and distribution, very impressive, 89.2% pass completion rate. His accurate passes contribute towards building attacking from the back. Progressive passes, averaging at nearly 5 progressive passes per game, helping to transition the ball into advanced areas. His progressive carries, he's not really a ball carrier, to be honest with you. 0.6% progressive carries per 90 minutes, but he does show a willingness to move the ball forward. Now, what about some other stats of the player? His injury and disciplinary record, not too bad, really. In 21-22 season, he missed 30 games because he broke his toe. But other than that, he's got a clean bill of health. In 3 seasons he's played for Flamengo, he's played 114 games, scoring 5 goals with 3 assists. But he's not really there to make assists. And he's received 20 yellow cards in the 3 seasons that he's been there. So that averages at around 7 yellow cards a season, which really, for a defender, I guess, is not that bad. He's also made 2 appearances for the Brazilian national team when he faced England and Spain in March, in friendlies in March of this year, earlier this year. But how does he compare to the other 2 main centre-backs that we've had at the club who've played most of our games throughout this season? And that, of course, is Mavropanos and Kurt Zouma. Well, certainly in terms of pass attempts, he's got a far superior pass attempt rate than either Mavropanos or Zouma. His pass accuracy has already been mentioned. These, by the way, are stats purely for league, doesn't include any cup competitions or anything like that. but his passing accuracy is far superior to the other two. His duels contested, again, far superior, and tackles made as well. Now, look, could Zuma does do better in other areas like clearances, interceptions, block shots, etc. But again, when you compare Bruno's stats against Mavropanos, they are again better than Mavropanos has delivered. Now, look, we've got to take that. You've got to take that with a little bit of pinch of salt because, quite honestly, he's been playing in the Brazilian league, and Mavropanos has been playing in the Premier League, and we keep being told that it's much tougher, etc. It's the best league in the world, so you've got to temper those stats a little bit by the fact that Bruno has achieved those in the Brazilian league, but with his kind of the way he plays, his statistics, etc., the style of play, he may well tick most of the boxes that Lopetegui would be looking for in a central defender. He's 28 years of age. He may still have around 3 or 4 years left in him at that top level. At 12 million euros plus about 1.5 million for add-ons, he's quite a low risk investment. If he succeeds, I mean, we may well be able to sell him on, in a couple of seasons, either to get our money back or maybe for a small profit. But interestingly, his former manager from Flamengo, Dorival Jr., is the one that brought him to Flamengo and is the one that brought him into the Brazilian squad as well. So he's clearly highly thought of. In order for Dorival to consider having that player in the national team, seems to say quite a lot about the player's ability. But perhaps it's his current coach at Flamengo that may have been an influence to help him be targeted by West Ham. His current coach is Adenor Leonardo Bacci, or Tite, as he's better known. Now, Tite's emphasis on the style of play is quite interesting because Tite focuses on defensive organization and compactness. His team are disciplined in maintaining a solid defensive structure. Players are instructed to maintain their positions. They press collectively and close down spaces to deny opponents easy passing lanes. They're also adept at transitioning quickly between defense and attack. And when winning the ball back, they look to launch counter-attacks or build-up play pretty swiftly. They press opponents progressively when they're out of possession. And all these traits, interestingly enough, are very much the way Lopetegui manages his team as well. They're all very, very similar traits. When I spoke about Lopetegui a week or two ago and talked about the mid block and talked about the fact that they are defensively very structured, solid defensively. They are compact. They do close down opponents, try not to allow opponents to pass through them. And Lopetegui likes the quick transition from defense to attack. So it's quite possible that the skills that Bruno has developed, probably under Dorival as well as Tite, his current manager, may have led to the decision that indeed this player does tick most of the boxes that Lopetegui wants. Now, look, we hear he's going to be due for a medical anytime soon. We hear, like I said, that he will be one of the two main central defenders. The prime targets are two main central defenders and a striker. It could be that Bruno is one of those defenders coming through the door as soon as the June transfer window opens on the 14th. Let's see. Like I said, I usually treat most transfer stories with a pinch of salt. There are many more out there, but I thought, given that it's continuing with quite strong suggestions that he will be our first player coming through the door this summer, I thought I'd do this show on it. So if you've enjoyed it, like I said, please do click the like button. Please do subscribe. And I'll be back again soon, I'm sure, with another transfer window story for you.